As I mentioned, we're going to have a roundtable discussion, and the conversation is going to be centered on the cost of weddings and post-wedding finances, how to start a marriage without debt. Now, there are many weddings that go on here in Accra, and of course, weddings are exciting, but many couples underestimate the financial burden they can create, right? And so this discussion this morning will explore how to plan a beautiful wedding without financial regrets at the end of the day, some smart money management strategies for newlyweds, and whether couples should prioritize a dream wedding or invest in their future. Our guests will be providing us some practical advice on budgeting for weddings and avoiding debts, and also starting marriage on a solid financial foundation. This morning, the question we are asking, and we want you to join the conversation: did you or someone you know spend more on your wedding than you should have? Looking back, do you regret it, or was it worth every cedi? Maybe I should repeat that. Did you or someone you know spend more on your wedding than you should have? Looking back, do you regret it, or was it worth every cedi? You can WhatsApp or call us on 0544-321019, 0544-321019, or engage our social media post at ZFMGH on Instagram, Facebook, and X. Now, one of my guests is in studio right now, and he's in a person of Mr. Edward Kwejo Owusu, who is a chartered insurance professional with an interest in finance and investments. He's married with 2 kids, and he's a manager of Light Insurance, a corporate insurance agency in East Legon, and he's in studio here with me this morning. We'll also be joined by Miss Benes Dakoa, who is the CEO of Kekel Events. She's a wedding and events planner. She's done that for several years, and she'll be bringing a lot of experience into the conversation this morning. But Mr. Edward Kwejo Owusu is already seated, and let me bring him to the conversation. Sir, good morning.
Good morning.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I like your suit.
Thank you very much.
Right, so we'll get into our conversation this morning. Let's start with the real cost of weddings in Ghana. Now, it seems that weddings these days are very expensive. Yeah. Very, very expensive. Do you think that they are really becoming too costly for the average couple?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I think weddings are becoming expensive, but I also think that it depends on the couple. So, for example, let me give myself as an example.
Right.
I've been married this year. I'll be 8 years in marriage.
Wow.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So, when we were getting married, that was 2017. My wife and I decided that, okay, we're going to spend something that is within our budget and within our means, because we had just started working. I had just finished national service in 2015, and I'd worked for about a year.
Okay.
And then my wife is a nurse, so she had also just been posted to Kolebu for a year. So we didn't have that much. Okay. So we're thinking of what to do. Something big, something small. And these things cost. It costs a lot of money. So we said, okay, we'll do something that we can pay. After all, it's our day.
Yeah.
And the people who are coming are supposed to be happy for us and not just come and the glamour of the whole thing.
Right.
So we started talking to people.
Okay.
I saved some money. She saved some money. We put something together, and then I spoke to my pastor. I told him, no, you see, one of the main costs is the event center.
Okay.
So we started looking for places, and then I said, no, this thing is too much. So our church had a very big compound. We had to use the church compound for our reception. And then, one other way of cutting costs too was to talk to people. So for me, the kind of business that I do, I sell insurance.
Okay.
So I have clients.
Right.
So I spoke to some of them. Some of them offered to help with water and other things. So I think in 2017, if I can recollect, we spent not even up to 20,000 on our wedding and then the engagement. Yes. I know some people talk that, oh, Charlie, this thing is not as they expected it. But I always tell my friends who are yet to get married that the ceremony is just an event. It's a day.
It's a day.
But what happens next? Because practically those who are married, the people who come by 5:30, 6 o'clock, everybody is gone.
Right.
So it should be about the two of you who are getting married. Check your financial position, your income, how much is coming in. Like I said, the event is just a day.
Yeah.
But after the day, what happens?
What happens?
Do you understand? So it should be about the priorities of the two people who are getting married.
Okay.
It should be about your financial standing. It should be about your risk factor. Because if you put all your money into the wedding, and then after that day, people come, they are happy for you, they've come to enjoy your food, and they leave. What happens to you? What happens to you and the life after?
Right.
So it should be about the two people, basically. I mean, you shouldn't be pressured by anybody to do something that you know that this thing, no, I can't contain it.
Right.
Yes.
So you didn't take any loan?
No, I didn't take any loan. I didn't take any loan. So this all happened. So like I said, I had worked for 1 year. So the bonus I got in 2016 for my workplace, and then the small savings that I have done, is what I put together. And you know, my wife had stayed home for, I mean, when they were done with their national service, the nurses, mostly they stay home for a period of time before they are recruited.
Yeah.
So they were giving something like they call a back pay.
Okay.
Yeah. So she also has some money that we put together. So we didn't take a loan. And I don't believe in taking loans for, that's my personal decision anyway, but I don't believe in taking loans for weddings. Yes.
Yes. We'll talk about that. We'll get into that particular, because these days, banks, I don't want to say they are taking advantage, but I mean, they are doing business. So if they realize that a lot of people are going into, are getting married and they are spending a lot of money, but they don't have the money. So they decide, I mean, most of them have decided to give wedding loans. I don't know whether it's been there for a long time, but for my recent checks, I realized that banks are giving wedding loans. Now, what is the biggest cost of wedding you've heard of, or you've
okay, I've actually attended one. So I attended a friend's wedding at Kimpiski, and she was telling me the decoration alone cost about 300,000. The decor alone? Yes. The decor, the room, I mean, renting the place alone costs over 300K. Can you imagine that? That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Yes. So that is just beside the dress and other things, the food. So you see, if you have the money, I wouldn't have a problem with you.
Okay.
But even if I have the money, like I'm saying, even if somebody is sponsoring me or paying for it, like I said, after the day, what happens? If somebody can give me 300K to do a wedding on a day, why don't I use a portion of that and invest the rest for the future? Because after that day, what's the guarantee that the person will even be ready to help you or even give you support when you need? So, yes, I hear weddings sometimes, even on social media, you hear some of these event planners putting out cost of weddings and things. And it's very expensive.
Very expensive.
Yeah, very, very expensive.
And that's why we're going to bring the CEO of KKL events into the conversation. She's a wedding planner. I'm sure she will come in with some more insight into that. Now, some wedding planners are accused of pushing unnecessary luxury services to increase their profit. Do you think that is true?
Well, I think the wedding planner works with your budget or with what you tell them to do.
Okay.
I'm not sure they just go out of their way to do anything. So if you are getting married, they'll sit down with you. Okay. You will tell them, these are the things that I need. I want this. I want photography. I want videography. I want this. So it's what you give them. It's input, output. What you give them is what they give you the cost. So I don't think a wedding planner on their own can push anything on you if you don't want it to be done.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I really wish was Bernice was here. Miss Bernice was here to talk about that. But now, let's talk about the loans. Do you think it's a smart move or a trap? The loans that these days the banks are giving towards weddings.
I wouldn't say it's a trap. You know, loans or money from the bank gives you instant cash. Okay. You understand? And it takes a bit of pressure off you because you need money, and somebody is offering you money up front. So one, you might think, okay, once I take that loan, it preserves the savings that I've made. Maybe you have some savings, you don't want to touch it. You have some investment, you don't want to put your hand into it. So the money the banks are offering, like you said, the banks are also doing business. Yeah. And these loans attract interest. You understand? So it's not a trap. I mean, they don't put down to anybody's head to come for a loan. You decide, okay, I'll go for the loan. They feel like they're giving you something. Like I said, it's a short-term relief for you because the money now comes, you do the event. But that is you putting yourself in a financial stress, getting into the marriage. Because after that day, you're going to pay for the loan. Right. So, like, it should be about the priorities of the couple. It should be about what their risk factors are, what they are willing to take and not to take after the marriage. Because if you are not careful, you go for the loan, which I will not condemn. Personally, I will not go for it. But if you look at your income level and you think that, okay, the interest I'm going to pay, the monthly payments I'm going to make fits within my income, fits within my budget, and will not affect you in any way, then you can go for it. But if it's something that will affect you, and it will even affect the running of the home, I wouldn't advise that you go for it. Just do something small. I mean, you can do a wedding which is not so glamorous, which is not so big, but it's very beautiful and nice, and then you're good to go.
But what if you lose your job? Let's say your income is from your job,
Yes.
and you've gone to take a loan for the wedding, and then right after that, because I heard of a true story.
Yes.
The gentleman, they got married, and then I think 2 weeks after the wedding, he lost his job, and his mother also passed around that same time. What do you do if you have a loan to pay for?
So that's where the problems of the marriage will start. Because you've gone for a loan, it has to be paid. The bank is not running a charity institution, it has to be paid. Now you've lost your job, and perhaps maybe that's the only source of income you have. Nothing is coming in. You have a home to run, you have a loan to pay, and in the unfortunate event that your mom has even passed, you need to take care of the funeral expenses. How do you go about it? Then now stress and depression sets in. You're always quarreling with your wife or your spouse because there's pressure on you. If you're not even careful, you might even commit suicide. So that's why I said before you go into the marriage, you need to plan. Planning is very key. Know your source of income. Like I say, if my source of income is just salary, I'm working for somebody. If you're doing your own business, fine. Even though that side has its own risk. But if you're working for somebody, and like I say, it can be stuck at any day. Anything can happen. So going for a loan should be something that you've really thought through, and you think that you need it.
You need it.
Yes.
Right. Now, also, people take loans, but maybe they borrow money. You know, when we talk about loans, usually it's about banking and all of that. People borrow money from friends. Would you say that that is a good idea to do? No, I won't go to the bank, but I want to do from friends. What would you say about that?
Well, what I would say to that is that, I mean, you can ask for help from friends and family. People can contribute to help you. So like I'm saying, like I was citing myself as an example. I had a client who gave me 30 packs of water for free. I had a client who printed my wedding invitation card because he was into printing, and I was doing insurance for his printing firm. He did that one for me for free. And a few others, my sisters and my big brothers helping. So if you have a family helping you, something that you're not going to pay back, why not? You can go for it. Because if you also go for a loan from a friend or a family friend, a family member, and you're supposed to pay back and you're not able to pay, that can even destroy the relationship.
Right.
So you have to weigh the pros and cons. That you need to balance things in going for some of these help.
These loans. Yes. Okay. Well, I've been joined in studio now by the beautiful Bernice Darkoa, who is the CEO of Kekel Events, right? Okay. So let me bring her into the conversation. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And good morning.
Yeah, good morning. You're looking very beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, so just before you came in, so I'll probably have to just take us back a bit so that I hear your thoughts as well on some of the things that I asked you. Now, the very first question I asked him was whether weddings are expensive in Ghana.
I mean, it depends who the question is coming from, obviously. But I would say that weddings are relatively they're not cheap. They're not cheap. They're relatively quite expensive in Ghana because you're looking at venues to decor to food to DJ. Now DJs charge a lot to MCs and all of that. So it's a compilation of a lot of things that goes into a wedding. And I'll say that it's fairly expensive and it needs planning before you actually go ahead.
So he talked about planning. You're also saying planning too. That tells me that is a very, very important part of the whole thing.
Absolutely. It's not something that you just get up and say, I'm getting married tomorrow. That would probably leave you with a very bad wedding or very bad debt, I guess. Yeah.
I see. Okay. So I asked him, what is the most expensive wedding? You are a wedding planner. So what's the most expensive wedding you've ever planned or heard of?
Well, do you want it in terms of cost or what it entails? I mean, most expensive wedding. In Ghana cedis, I would say about 1.5 million Ghana cedis.
Millions?
Yes.
People spend that much?
Yes.
For a day?
For a day, yeah. Oh. For a day, yes.
What goes into that?
Because, I mean, you're looking at venues. Depending on the number of people that you're obviously setting up for. So if you have a wedding covering over 500 or to 1,000, decor alone should cost close to 300, 400,000 cedis. You're looking at food, budgeting around 300 cedis per head, X that by 500 or 1,000. So it's a lot. It's a lot. If you want to have a good wedding, then I mean it entails a lot and a lot of money. Yeah.
1.5 million.
Yes.
That's a lot of money.
It is. It is. That's about $100,000. So people that are converted into dollars, it's just 100,000, but it's a lot in Ghana cedis. Yeah.
Right. Now, some wedding planners are accused of unnecessarily pushing luxury services to increase their profits. Is this true? I would speak for myself and I guess the people that I know. I don't think it's professional for anybody to push a service onto a client. But then again, clients also come in with preconceived ideas, or, you know, they've seen something that somebody had done already. So when I get a client like that comes in, that already knows what they want, I will try and give them a budget based on what they've presented to me. And then if it's too much for them, if it's out of budget, then I'll let them know, look, you know, it's because of this and that. That's why the budget had obviously gone high. And if you want us to look into where we can use maybe a cheaper, it's still nice, but a cheaper chair, a cheaper table, luxury, we can change this and do this instead and go within the budget. But trust me, now because of social media, there's pictures and videos flying everywhere and people want exactly what other people have done, not knowing that it's money that goes into every details of the wedding. So I guess a thorough conversation with the client will give them a bit more insight on their budget and what to expect. Right. Now, so from decor to catering, prices have skyrocketed.
Yes.
Which
dollar has gone high too.
Which aspect of weddings is most overpriced?
Oh, I'll be very unfair. I'll be very no deco, not deco. I'll be very unfair. Look, to be honest, I'm on the field, I'm on the ground, and it's not an easy job. I actually think it's underpriced, if you ask me, because somebody would say, oh, DJ day, like, why should you pay DJ this kind of money just to come and stand there and eat my food and, you know, just... But trust me, it's a lot of work. They come in sometimes the day before to come and set up and do all of that, the tuning and all of that. Stay there the whole event. So if you decide to party till 1 a.m., they can't go anywhere. They have to be very attentive to see when you're coming in, what you're doing. So it looks like it's nothing, but it's a lot of job. It's a lot of work that goes into it. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it's underpriced, but then again, I mean, it's okay to shop around as well. I don't think too cheap. You should be worried if it's too cheap, actually, because it takes a lot and it looks a lot of logistics that goes into making an event a successful one. So I wouldn't say it's overpriced. Of course, some overdo it, but I can't speak because I'm in that space. That would not be fair for me to speak. On that, but I mean, you can shop around and see what works better from a reputable company or Now, so for a young couple that probably are listening to us, what would be a lower or the lowest realistic budget for a wedding? That would also be a very hard question to answer because it's dependent on the number of people, where you are doing it, you know, it's a lot that goes into it. But I think what I would say in regards to it is, look, I understand that it's your day. I wouldn't want you to be mediocre about it because it happens once in a lifetime. By God's grace, you are not getting married again. That's your only marriage. But then again, I would also advise young couple not to look at what's going on social media and all the flair and all of that comes with it, because I've seen couples that had actually gone ahead to borrow money, and I've seen couples that because of financial restraint after marriage they had to divorce. Because the pressure was too much. I've single-handedly seen men that had lied to their wife, that their wife to be, to let them feel like they financially capable of doing some certain things, and just calling behind closed doors and telling me, you know what, the money is not there, because the pressure and the expectation of people. But at the end of the day, I feel like look at your budget, look at yourself individually with your partner, see what your capabilities are, settle on the number of people that you want to have the event for, and realistically come up with a budget. And ideally, if you can plan, like, let's say a month, or like not less than a month, like let's say a year, 6 months into it, you plan, you're saving money towards it, it leaves a lot of stress out. And it's able for you to do it freely without not engaging or expect. Because I've also seen people that are angry at people because their uncle didn't give them money because they are getting married. And for me, it's you that you're getting married. I mean, you should be financially responsible for that. So just not follow the pressure, do a lot of planning, take your time, realistically do what your capabilities are, and enjoy your day. I always tell my clients, don't worry about the dress you're wearing, because that day, no matter what, you look beautiful. You don't have to wear a dress that is costing $5,000. 1,000 cedis dress can still make you look beautiful at the end of the day. So I think that would be my advice to young couples coming up.
I'm glad you've come to the loan conversation, because that was where I got with our financial advisor. He was talking about the banking loans and all of that, the wedding loans that banks are giving these days, and he was saying that it's not really a problem depending on the person, if they can cater for it afterwards. Now, I want to ask, you are speaking about family and societal pressure, the social media pressure and all of that. Do you allude to that fact, Mr. Edward?
Yes, I do. And just to add to what she said, with the expectation of people. So like you said, people get angry with their uncles and people. Let me give you an example. So sometimes I always tell my friends that you don't plan your wedding, or you don't do it expecting that people will come in and give you gifts, give you money to be able to recoup how much you spent. Okay, so for example, when I was getting married, I invited my CEO. I won't mention my company here. That he came.
You mentioned your company.
No, I mean,
was it a different company?
Yes, I mean where I used to work before I left. Yes, so I invited my CEO. He came. I was happy, and CEO, big company, thinking that okay, this man is coming to give me something. So I was happy. You know what he brought? We went to him. He had packaged a very nice box. You know what was inside? What? A towel. Yes. I kid you not. So I said, so my mom said, your man brought you a towel. So you see, when you have expectation that people will bring you cash donations and you're going to use that to offset some of the expenditures you've done, you'll be disappointed. Or you're expecting an uncle to come and give you some cash. If you're not ready to marry, why are you going to get married? You understand? That's the mindset of some people.
But maybe the person is ready physically, spiritually, everythingly, except financially.
No, but that's a very critical component of yes, exactly. That's a very critical of the thing, because even to get that day going, you need money. You understand? And I have friends who tell you that once he's driven there with his phone, he won't give you anything, because he uses his phone to come.
Oh,
you know now to Gen Zs, they'll come and take pictures, come and have fun, and they'll go. Don't give you anything.
And dance.
So I mean, you should be prepared yourself. You should be ready. You should plan. You understand? And don't get carried away with the social media pressures. See what somebody is doing, the cars people are renting, the place they are going. Look within your budget, look within your means, and then plan something that is beautiful. And like you're saying, there are a lot of companies like hers out there that they can plan something very beautiful for you that might not cost you a fortune. Yeah, so you should always look at yourself and what you can afford.
Right. So if a couple doesn't have money, we have said that loans are a no-no. You have said.
I mean, I won't... It's not advisable, but it's not an X.
All right.
Right. It's not advisable. I always tell my clients, I actually have a note on my phone that I send to my when I'm doing a full planning. I said taking a loan for wedding is generally not advisable, but if you are considering it, because it has its pros and cons to it, right? So the pros would be it allows you to have a wedding you desire, obviously, without not waiting for your money and all of that. And it can help you cover up your unexpected expenses. And you can also fix a monthly repayment to at least make your budget, easy for you. But there's a lot of cons. Because, when you're about to start, it's exciting. You've got the loan, you've got once everything is done, it's like when we're in school, after you do our day, after that, your results will come out, right? So after it's done, that's when the real pressure starts, because now you're paying for something that you're not seeing physically because it's already done. And you realize that after all, it was only a 4-hour or 5-hour event. So all this money to just take it to somebody becomes very difficult to pay as well. And some of the vendors, they have contracts. I've known somebody that actually took someone to court because they didn't repay their balances. So, I mean, I guess it's not advisable, but if you are having a job that it's your finances, you can foretell that maybe in the next month or in the next 2 months or the next 3 months, you're expectant of some sort of finance or some support from somewhere, then you can look into that. But ideally, it would be good to go stress-free, no loan, and just...
So would you advise that they postpone the wedding if they don't have the funds to take care of it?
Oh, no, don't postpone. Holy Ghost will take care of it.
And you don't just get up in a day and say, I'm going to get married. I mean, it's something you've planned over a period. So I'm sure you had saved some monies to do that. So once you take the decision, I'm getting married, I don't think you should postpone it.
I think you can start off with starting with what you can afford, and along the line, if you get extra cash flow or some money comes in, you upgrade your setup or you upgrade whatever services you want. But start off with realistically what you think you can afford, and in the interim, if something comes in, upgrade. Yeah. Normal, upgrade to luxury.
All right.
Yeah.
So I know of a couple that decided to get married, and they were planning for like almost a year. They were putting down money. They were buying everything small. They know they would definitely have to buy some fabrics for their family, some drinks. And so they started buying from time. Both of them, they go and buy their mugs, come and put it down. And for over a year, they had bought all the things that they were going to use for the wedding. And they had a successful wedding. Well, let's move on. Are couples planning weddings for themselves or for guests? And I'm asking you, wedding planner, tell me about it.
That's a very dicey question. Well, because, I'll speak about it in two angles, right? Because I've been in the industry and I've come to know what goes into planning a wedding. If I was doing a wedding, I would plan it for myself. Right. But I also understand that not a lot of people are in my position to know what I know. But I would say that 90% of people subconsciously plan it for others, not for themselves. Because they're concerned about... I know couples that won't even eat at their wedding. Their whole wedding and reception, they didn't even taste the food. And they've paid $500 cedis per head. And they didn't even taste the food to even know how the food tastes like. You know, they just not there. They're just not present. They're just particularly concerned about what people will say or the hype or the social media trend and all of that. So majority, I would say, plan to get the accolades from other people. But I've also encountered clients that, just want to have a great time, just want to enjoy myself. I don't care. If there's anything going on, don't even come and tell me. I'll just want to have a great time. So it depends. Okay.
Would you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, I think she said it all. But I think the wedding should be about the two of you. But like she's saying, we are looking at what our friends are going to say. We're looking at what people are going to say. We want to post things online, the likes we're going to get, and people, this wedding is beautiful, this wedding is that and that. So if you have that in mind, then that breaks in these loans and these costs. But if it's about you and what makes the two of you happy and your family happy, then there shouldn't be any problems. Yes.
Right. Now, families often contribute financially to weddings, but sometimes they take control of the planning. How often do families take to wedding decisions, Mr. Owusu?
Okay, so, I mean, your family can contribute. Your family can help, but I think the main planning should be about the two of you. Yes. Okay. The main planning, because it is your day, not their day. You are happy they want to contribute, but I mean, they shouldn't take over, because if you are not careful, they might even bring in things that you are not even ready to spend on.
Right.
You understand? So if you are planning as a couple, like I said, it is about the two of you, and you should plan your own wedding.
Okay.
They can support you any way they want to support you, but they shouldn't take over the planning. Yes.
I see. Do you want to say something?
I
Or
think
you
he
agree?
said it, or I
Right.
agree, but I think there has to be a good balance as well, because it's about both families
Yeah.
as well as the couple involved as well. But then again, Ghana it's about the families. Very little is the wedding. I realize that they leave the weddings for the couple, but the engagement is for the family, because there's been instances that they will say, let's do the engagement in the room, and then the couple feel like it's a lot of people, we can't fit in the room, let's
Right.
do it outside. And then the parents will be like, no, we take the dowry in the yeah, I real with them.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it depends. I feel like the engagement is respectful, that we leave it to get the parents. We have a balance to get the parents and the families involved. And with the white wedding, if you want to take control, I guess the parents do understand that as
Right.
well.
Now, you are a man, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's a perception that grooms actually bear the financial burden in marriages. I mean, in weddings, really. Is that true?
Well, to a greater extent, yes. So the man or the groom pays much of the cost.
Right.
Yes, but I think there are some other costs that the woman can take care of.
What
Yes.
are they?
So, for instance, I mean, I believe the groom, as the man going to get married, there something like the ring should be bought by you. The gown and the things that you take to the woman's family to seek for a hand should be bought by you. But there are certain few other things, like maybe, for instance, the bridesmaids,
Okay.
the things that maybe they will wear and other things. I mean, she can, of course, like I said from the beginning, it's about the two of you.
Right.
So, in as much as you are going to bear much of the cost, she should also feel part of the event or the day.
Okay.
By contributing. But if she doesn't contribute anything, then
No chop.
No.
you understand? So the woman will want you to spend everything. But I mean, sometimes they even have the money, but they want to give it to the man too. And it appears that the man is doing everything. But I mean, I believe that the woman contributing something, no matter how little it is, also makes the event very
right. But men generally bear that.
Exactly.
I think you wanted to say something.
Oh no, men should take care of it.
Everything. Everything.
You are come to marry me.
Really?
Men should. I mean, if they have the capability to take care of it, why not? You can buy my clothes. I mean,
that's
you
what I
can
said,
buy my
that-
shoes. You can buy all of it.
Yes.
I mean, do all of it if you can. But if there's a need for support, of course. But ideally, it's not a 50. This is not feminism. Do it.
I see. Okay. Anyway, some couples are afraid to have small weddings because of the judgment from family and friends. Why is there so much stigma around simple weddings? And I'm asking.
Simple or small?
Very.
Because there's a difference. You can have a small and a very elaborate wedding.
Okay.
And then you can have a big wedding with
It's
a
a
lot of
simple.
numbers and looks very simple and it hasn't been planned properly.
Okay.
So I think small weddings are fine. I think a lot of people are now coming to terms with small weddings because people are now starting to realize that, I mean, I'm inviting 500, 400, 300 people that I barely know. And it costs a lot. So people are now trying to stay within the 100,
Right.
number,
Yeah.
or probably a bit less, at 70 to 100. But you can still have a small wedding and have it very detailed and very elaborate. But I wouldn't advise that you invite 500 people, come and there's no water, there's no drinks, there's no food, it's unplanned, everything is all over the place. That's not a good wedding, I would say. So, I mean, it depends. You can have a small one and still be good, and have a big one and still be tacky. So it depends. It depends.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I also want to know. Now, these days, I know the wedding industry is like a billion CD industry.
It is.
Do you think that some wedding vendors are overpricing or overcharging their
That overpricing, you've come back to it again.
Yeah, I want to talk
That means you want an answer to
I want to
that.
answer.
The location determines the cost.
Exactly.
No, because we all say that.
Exactly. Your location determines the cost. He's 100% right. And I won't say it's overcharged or overpriced.
Because the narrative is that it's a one-time experience. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It is a one-time experience, but not also with holding the fact that it takes a lot of work to make these things happen.
Okay.
Right. I think these people that feel this way, if they been given an in-depth explanation on why they being charged this amount and what is going into it, they would have a better understanding on why they spending that much money. Because I mean, if you had come to me and, as I said before, you show me this wedding with things coming from the ceiling, cake is coming from ceiling, things are coming from the floor, and all of that, and you insisting that that's what you want, I will budget you based on what you showed me. But if you had come to me and say, look, I'm getting married, this is my budget, I have a budget of 50,000, I would explain to you that this is what the 50,000 would get you. If you're okay with that, great. If you're not, we can look into it. Okay, let's get this. This will cost extra 5,000. And at least you know what you're spending and what is getting into it. But as I said, most people want to have a multi-million wedding with a small budget. That won't work. At the end of the day, that's how they will feel like it's overpriced.
Okay.
But I think if you're looking and you're addressing it from the direction of giving your budget to the planner to let them know that, okay, this is what my budget is. What can you do with it? If it works for you, praise God. If it doesn't, then we can work around it.
Right. Okay, now that's okay. Well, we are 24 minutes past 9, and this is Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM. This morning, I'm having a conversation with Miss is it Miss or Mrs. Miss Bernice Dakwa, and then Mr. Edward Owusu, and we're talking about wedding expenses. How to start a marriage without debt. And they've made very relevant points, but we are asking you to also join the conversation. Do you know anybody that has overspent in weddings, and whether they regretted it or not? Or maybe you yourself, you can get interactive with us on our social media platforms, on our Instagram, Facebook, and X at ZFMGH, Instagram, Facebook, and X, and on WhatsApp, 0544321019, 0544321019. You can send a voice note, share your story, and then you stand a chance of winning some giveaways from my producer. Yeah. All right. So let's get into other parts of the conversation. There's a trend, and I'm coming back to you, Ms. Bernice. There's a trend of pre-wedding photo shoot.
Okay.
Yes. Is it necessary, or is just a money-making venture?
Today you're asking me questions that I haven't actually thought about. If it's a package, if it's part of the package from your photographer or your videographer, I would say go for it if it's not going to cost you extra money. But I don't think it's a must-do thing.
Right.
Before your wedding, because if it's going to cost you extra money, because from your clothing to your makeup to your hair to your venue to your photographer and all of that, it's a lot of money. And I would say if it's not something that is already part of your package that you've chosen with your photographer, and it's not something that personally you want to do, I don't think you should break your back because you want to do a pre-photo shoot. Yeah.
Right. Now, I also want to be on you.
Okay.
Just for a few minutes.
You're allowed.
Now, many wedding budgets exceed their limits, right? Yes. Why is that so?
It's a very important question, a good question. I think until you have done an event before, because this, I get it almost every client that I work with. Unless a person has been doing a lot of parties or they've been in the event space already to know how much these things cost. But it almost comes as a surprise to everyone who starts to plan a wedding, because you see it on a vague. You go to a wedding, you see the decor, you've seen food, you've eaten, you've danced, you've gone home, so you think that's it. right? But when it's your turn to actually do it and you start to plan it, that's when you realize, okay, decor is costing a lot. Food is costing a lot. Cake hasn't come, my clothing, my makeup. There are things that you hadn't even looked at to even realize that it does cost a lot of money. So it almost does comes as a surprise to everyone that starts to plan a wedding or a party or anything. But I guess subsequent events, they have an understanding of what involves and even able to cut down some costs because they realize that, okay, I did this thing before and I realized that you don't even see it or you don't. It's like buying a lot of champagne and having a cocktail stand and having drinks as well. At the end of the day, the cocktail guy will carry the drinks on because nobody really went there to go and drink. So with experience, with more parties, you realize these things and then you're able to budget yourself properly.
Okay.
Yeah. So first time is always, they're always shocked and, shaking a little bit, but with time they get.
Right. Now, let me come to you, Mr. Osu. Now, many couples actually say that they would have spent less if they were to marry again, right? What is the most reckless or financially reckless wedding decision you've seen?
Wow, what a question. Well, spending less, that is looking back with time. Things are not going back, so I don't know about that, but... because things are increasing, but because the dollar yesterday is not the dollar today. So how much you spend, like I told you, I spent like 20K today cannot even do photography.
Hey, for how many people?
So about 100 people.
Still crowd. Then
that's 8 years ago.
That is why you did a wedding,
So, but now that same amount will just pay for maybe photography or some few things. All right. But me, like I always say, dealing with a wedding planner and even looking at your budget, looking at your finances, you should be able to cut off certain things that you don't think is really needed.
Right.
You understand? So, for example, the woman will change like 4 times, 5 times. I mean, I don't see the point in that. It's at all cost. You understand? Yeah. So after the wedding, they'll go and change. They have a dress for pictures. After they have a dress for the reception. After reception, have a dress for a dinner party in the night. And these are very expensive things. You understand? So these are some of the ways that you can cut down on the wedding. Another way too is that, I mean, some people have about 15 bridesmaids. And I ask why following you. And these are people you are going to spend monies on.
But oftentimes, these people actually pay for their own clothes, right?
Yes, they do. But assuming you're going to rent a hotel for all of them to sleep in, I mean, wherever that's cost. If we're just 3 or 4 people you are using, you are renting only 1 room. Right. If there are 15, you need about 5 rooms for it. You understand? These are all costs. So there are certain things I'm sure you can do without. That will still make the wedding very beautiful.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let me come to you, Ms. Bernice. So what other things can people cut off from the wedding list?
I would say, with my experience, I would say that the experience that people get at weddings, it's very important than the actual look of it. It doesn't make sense because I have been at weddings that people, the experience was so poor that people were just waiting for food to be served and they can just pick their bags up and go home. So I think the experience, what is engaging people, the experience of food, the flow of food, the flow of drinks, and a decent appearance, which is the decor, is important. Anything else is overlooked because, I mean, in terms of dresses, as he mentioned, people spend as much as $20, even in dollars, to get their dresses for their wedding. And for me, you're already glowing. You're already looking beautiful. Like it's your day. It's all about you. All eyes are on you. So if you have the capability of doing that, or that's what you want, great. But you don't stretch yourself just for a dress that you probably wear only once and perhaps probably only 2 hours because you would want to change it again. So these are things that I would say, don't kill yourself for it, but for the experience for yourself and your people that you've invited as well is what matters the most, because it's your day. You want to have a great day. You actually want to go home and feel like I've actually enjoyed my wedding, and that's the most important thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let me come back to you, Mr. Owusu. Now, so you said we talked about the stress. We both talk about you both talk about the stress. I want to know, have you encountered any couple that have gone into some financial challenges after their wedding? Tell us about it.
Well, personally, no.
Okay.
But I've heard stories where people after the wedding, and even sometimes leads to divorce, because the financial burden becomes so stressful on them that they can't contain it again, and then the eventual outcome is a divorce.
Okay.
But personally, as in people I know, no, I've not encountered anyone. But I hear stories, I read stories online, and I ask myself, why would you want to put yourself in such a situation? Because at the end of the day, the people you are trying to please will end up being the people who laugh at you if it doesn't work. And especially so if you have to be as a result of you trying to please people and ending up in a situation where, because the marriage is supposed to be for forever, you understand? But if you have to go into a situation where after these days people getting married and even 2 weeks they are divorcing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I even heard a story that they got married the same day, by 9 p.m. they were divorced. Because it's because of some of these stress. So look at something that works for you and your wife or your spouse, and then just work within that. Yes.
But is there a link between wedding extravagance and marital stability? Because
there is. I think before marriage, your finances should be discussed and discussed plainly and honestly, because a lot of people in my space, I meet all kind of couples and all kind of people, right? I've had people that had given the impression that they have the money, they have it going on. And I've even had women the men had told the woman that, you know what, the money is not there, let's cut, our expenses and let's do something within our means. And the lady will go behind and tell me to do some certain things with the impression of sorting it out later.
Right.
And after the wedding, you're calling, they're not picking up, and you're threatening to call their husband, and they are begging you, and the husband will find out later, chaos at home and all of that. So, I think if there is a clear and honest conversation about your finances, even before the wedding, it makes things easier and it makes things very simple for the couple. But then again, you have men that are posting, a lot of men that are posing that they have it going on, they have it just to get the woman or just to get things rolling. And then once they are married, not even as at the wedding, they're still posing. And actually, after the wedding is over and they have gone home, and they realize that you are home 24/7, you are not even going to work. Do you understand? Because I know people that were forming as if they have this company, they've been going to the rig, they're doing all of these things, and you actually marry the person and you're at home with this person 24/7. And you realize that, today, no meeting. Tomorrow, no meeting. Like, what work do you actually do? And things are coming out and they feel deceived, and people will judge that, okay, you're married because of money. It's not about money, it's about honesty. Right. Because if you would have made it clear to the person that this is my situation and this is my financial position, then it would have been easier for the lady to decide what to go or what path to go.
Right. Well, we are 35 minutes past 9, and we're going to get into the solutions. And I think that is the most important part of the conversation. But we'll take a short music break just to relax a bit, and then we get into that too. DJ Wade, give us some good music as we take this break.
Wizzy Pro.
Ring on your finger, everything nice and everything good. Yeah, I can see the ginger. Loving you, loving you. Loving you, loving you. Your man loving you, loving you, loving you. Your woman is loving you, loving you, loving you. Put a smile upon that face, put a smile upon that face. Let your man just rock your waist, let your man just rock your waist. Put a smile upon that face, put a smile upon that face. Let your man just rock your waist, let your man just rock your waist. One day let's get together, let no man put us under. You will live forever, no retreat and no surrender. It's your happy day, your happy day. It's your wedding day, your wedding day. It's your happy day, your happy day. It's your wedding day, your wedding day. Grab your man, grab your woman, and take her home. Grab your man, grab your woman. She is the bone of your bone. Oh na na, oh na na. God bless you na na. Oh na na, God bless you na na. Oh na na. Put a smile upon that face, put a smile upon that face. Let your man just rock your waist, let your man just rock your waist. Put a smile upon that face, put a smile upon that face. Let your man just rock your waist, let your man just rock your waist. One day let's just together, let no man put us under. You will live forever, no retreat and no surrender. It's your happy day, your happy day. It's your wedding day, your wedding day.
Stay tuned to your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Right, welcome back to the Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Nitrebi Hammond. We've been talking to Mr. Edward Owusu and Miss Bernice Dakwa, who is an events planner, and Mr. Edward Owusu is a financial advisor or an insurance person. And they've been talking to us about how you can start a marriage without debt. And they've made a lot of points, and we're going to get into the solutions right now. But feel free to engage us over our social media platforms at ZFMGH on Instagram, Facebook, and X, ZFMGH. And also WhatsApp us. You can send us a voice note. You can call us on 0544-321019, 0544-321019. We have just 20 minutes to go, so we'll get into the solutions right away. Now, let me start with you, Mr. Owusu. Now, weddings are becoming expensive. We've all alluded to that. What's the smartest financial decision couples can make during wedding planning?
Okay. So what I would say is that, I'm sure she will say it all. There are seasons and off seasons. I mean, everything has seasons. We have the peak seasons. We have the off peak seasons. So if you are planning your wedding, looking at your budget, you can look at the off peak seasons where maybe prices of things will be less costly, or you can. So now what I realized is that some people are even getting married during weekdays.
Right.
Yes, during weekdays. So if somebody is getting married on a Wednesday, for example, you know that a lot of people will go to work and might not be able to come. Okay. So that helps you cut down the number of people you are going to even invite. That is you saving smart money there. You understand? It's not that you're not inviting them. So it also saves you the cost. You didn't invite me. I've invited you, but you can't come.
Okay.
Exactly. So
or you can come but spend 20 minutes.
Exactly, because he has to go back to work. So it saves you money
right.
on the number of people you are going to invite. Okay. You understand? So look at the off season, look at this. And now I also realized that some people are also doing the traditional wedding and then they are going to court to sign. So that also saves you some money with the expenditure you have incurred on the wedding. You understand? So these are some of the ways. And also, I mean, like she said, it's about the experience.
Yeah.
So if there are certain things that will not add up to that experience and people will easily forget once they leave the place, then I don't think you need to spend so much on it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me come to Miss Bernice Dakwa. Now, what's the best way to cut costs? I know you mentioned some of them already, but what's the best way? What do you think is the surest way to cut costs without compromising the quality of your wedding? Yeah. And I want you to speak because of your perspective.
I think the best way would be to set a realistic goal.
Okay.
Be real with yourself, right? Know the number of people realistically you can afford, and the goal to set. I mean, just be real with the number of people you can afford and cater for, and realistically, honestly, just prepare for that.
Right.
Prepare for that, because what would be out of budget or what would come out of cost would be, let's say you can't afford some certain things and then you're just stressing yourself to do it. That is where the problem comes in. But realistically, if you're looking at yourself and you know that you can afford 100 people at this quality of a wedding, then you should go for it.
Right.
But to cut costs, because what might mean something to somebody might not. Some people care about decor. Some people care about food. Some people care about music.
Right.
So it's a broad question to answer. But realistically, give them the experience. If you feel like food is what is important, go in and hard on that. I've seen people, in fact, the best parties that I've been at are the ones that we do at homes and there's no proper decor. You have some table chairs, some foldable chairs that you just play music and eat and have your kebab and all your girls and all of that. So it's not really about the setup as well. Some people also might feel like I want my people or the people that are coming to have a wow effect once they enter. So depending on which one you think that it's a priority to you, go for it, and then make sure you focus on that and not worry about the extra little bits like the pre-photo shoot. If it's going to cost you extra, don't go for it. If you feel like popping 100 champagnes or bringing 100 champagnes is what people are going to talk about, it's not really necessary, because people don't even finish the bottles. There are things that people don't look at. For example, even the water that we drink at our weddings and parties, we waste it. Get a smaller mils of water bottle, which is cheaper. These are things that people don't look into it, but it's things that maybe if you get a planner, they'll be able to assist you on how you can cut it down. A planner like me, thank you very much.
Right. Okay. Let me come back to you, Mr. Edward. Now, the people, experts actually advise that a percentage of your income should be what is what is okay to go into your wedding. Right, so essentially there's a safe percentage. What do you think is a safe percentage of your income that should go into your wedding?
Okay, so depending on how much you are earning, we all budget. So like they will say 50, 20, 30, whatever formula. It depends on you. So depending on the kind of wedding you want.
Right.
And the time you also have to plan. So somebody who has like 6 months to plan for a wedding, obviously will need to save more than somebody who has like a year or 2 years to plan. So if my wedding is going to be in the next 2 years, I have a lot of time. Right. And if my budget is say 200,000, then that will determine how much I save every month towards it.
Okay.
But somebody who is going to get married in the next 3 months or in the next 6 months will have to save more. So I think that one depends on the time you have, your level of income, and then how much you have. That will determine the percentage. I don't think it's cast in stone that, okay, I'm saving 10%. If my wedding is in 6 months and I'm saving 10%, depending on my income, I might not be able to meet up to the budget. So it depends on the time you have and then what kind of wedding you want to have. Yes.
Right. Okay. Now, let's talk about the future of Ghanaian weddings. And I want to add your voices because I'm going to write news stories for you.
Hey.
Yes. I want to put you in the news. So with Ghana's economic challenges, right? Do you think lavish weddings are still financially stable for most people?
Well, personally, it depends on what you describe as lavish, because and it also depends on your financial status or standing.
Very relative.
You understand? So if I have the money and I can spend, why not? If I don't have it, then you don't look at what somebody else is doing. So I think you should look at your personal finances.
Right.
as a couple or as an individual, because $100,000 is like chicken chain for somebody.
Right.
The same $100,000 is a fortune for somebody. So look at your personal finances, look at your level or your sources of income. If your source of income is just salary, a salary worker, then you should be measured. If you have a business running that is bringing you some good money and you want to plan some, so I think it depends on the individual dynamics.
Right.
Yes.
I think I'll add to that
Sure.
that the Ghana wedding industry has a very bright, big future. And in the world that we're in, we're evolving. There's new designs, there's new things that's coming in every single day. So if you're going to keep up to trend, you're going to keep going and going and going, because we're not stopping. We expanding. We're doing bigger things. We're exploring. So I would say that, as he rightfully said, when the time comes, look at a realistic budget on what you can afford, and then get a planner to help you assist on making the right decisions. And I think you have a great wedding.
Right.
Yeah.
You have a great wedding. Now, do you think we should normalize simple, low-cost weddings? Because there's a growing advocacy for that. Do you think so?
Yes and a no, because it's very relative. I think some people, even if you offer them a simple wedding, they'll still say no. Because, I mean, it boils down to cutting your costs according to your code. I know cutting your costs according to your costs. Yes. It boils down to that, because at the end of the day, some people have the funds, some people have the money.
Right.
They see it to be a one-time event. It's happening only once in their life, so they want to go all the way out, and I'm not in the position to stop them or to force them to do a simple one. But then again, simple might mean beautiful. Simple doesn't necessarily mean you have to do over the top or do luxury, get things flying from here, or somebody jumping to mean it's a beautiful, because what might seem beautiful to one person might not be beautiful for another person. Because I mean, we have tables that are glass tables that we don't cover it, and there are tables that you have to put a cloth on it. And I've had multi-millionaires that prefer a covered table. So it depends what your preference are and what you can afford, and what you feel like is beautiful to you in your own eyes is what you should go for.
Now, do you think Ghana's wedding industry will collapse if people start spending less?
No, it
I'm
will not.
suspecting that is why he said he was gonna do.
No, it will not, because I'll tell you this, right? I always say this joke, right? It's one of the safest industry to get into, because I'll give you something. Even Jesus' first miracle was at a wedding. Do you understand? So it's not an industry that would collapse. I mean, you're going to get married, aren't you? Someone will get married. There'll be a corporate event. There'll be a funeral. There would be, I mean, there has to be something. Even if they say we abandon, the government says, you know what, here in Ghana, we are not doing a big wedding anymore. People will still have to get married one way or the other. So it's not collapsing today, tomorrow. Even Jesus said he's going to heaven to prepare a party for us. Do you understand? So it's not going to collapse, but I think looking in the industry to know what works for you or what you can work with. That matters.
Right. Also, some argue that traditional weddings are cheaper than white weddings. Is this true? Or do both cost the same in the end?
It could cost the same. It could cost a little bit more.
Okay.
Or it could have a vast difference, depending. It all is relative. It's a relative question as well, because some people that are doing over-the-top weddings and receptions don't want to do a big engagement, because they feel like, okay, engagement, let me just invite 50 people, my family and some few people. Just we sit home, we do something, we pack food, you eat and you go. Then we have the big ones. So you have other people doing both very big as well. And then you have people that feel like, you know what, let's just do, as he said, let's just do the engagement and then just do a reception after the engagement, and there's no white wedding. So I mean, if you look at it from that perspective, then engagements, traditional marriages are a little cheaper, because people tend to spend less on that than the white wedding. If you look at it that way, then I will agree on that traditional marriages are, because we don't spend a lot. It doesn't require a lot of decor. We're not renting venues, because most people do it at home, family homes. So there's no venue involved. The food, They sometimes have a caterer doing that, but the house people also do something in addition. So it's a bit more relaxed than the white wedding.
Than the white weddings. Okay. All right. So let me come to Mr. Edward. And this particular question, I want both of you to speak, but he will go first, and then you come in. Now, what can couples and families do to change their mindset that a memorable wedding is not necessarily the extravagant one?
Okay, thank you. So I'll go back to the point that the wedding is about you. I mean, you and your partner.
Right.
And also bear in mind that it's a day's event. And then whatever happens that day, you should think about it after years or months afterwards. You understand how you're going to sustain the marriage. So I think people should also take their mind off what happens on social media and what they see, because most of these things that we see on social media, most of the time, some of them are not even true. Some of them are not even true. So if you are minded or you are tempted by what you see online, you might be deceived or you'll be tempted into doing something that will cost you.
Right.
So look at yourself, have an open conversation with your partner, look at your finances, look at your current financial position and your future financial position. You understand?
Right.
What investment do you have? The support that is coming in from the family. Let the family understand that. Because sometimes the family also gives you pressure. Okay, we want this. So somebody's mother will say, "Oh, I'm Miyamako for Penny. Like I'm the head of the women fellowship in the church, and he wants to bring our people." Or her friend's child did something.
Yeah.
You know, some of these pressures come back. I think having a conversation with your people, let them being open. Okay, this is what I can afford. This is what I have. Let's do this. Like even. So there are some people who do something very simple and nice. Maybe after 10 years, once the money is there, can throw a very big party.
Yeah.
To celebrate all the loss. To have fun.
Right.
That can be there.
Okay.
So it's about having an open conversation. Let people understand your situation and not bragging or trying to create an impression and making things that are not as though they are.
Right.
You are not Jesus Christ. You understand? So look within yourself. Take a personal decision. Do something memorable, beautiful. That will give people an experience and not something that will come back to haunt you. Yes.
Okay.
I'll add to that. I think maybe some years ago, before social media and all this trending and all of that, the real importance of marriage was how sacred it was, and the fact that you have your pastors and your family and the people that you love, your close people that you love around you, to present you in front of God, to put you guys together according to what the Bible says, was what was really the main reason of marriage. Because people would even go to church small, the blessings of God, the pastor will bless the marriage, and they feel married, and they can move on in life. But I think the DNA that we're in now, things have changed because of social media. There's a lot of things that have been out there that had made people forget the main reason and the main purpose of marriage. Because now, I mean, I have seen couple that even on their wedding day, I knew that Mama 3 months and the marriage is over. You can tell. You can tell because you can see that the foundation and the real reason for the marriage is not there. They've lost it. They just want to get married. They want to trend. They just want to be out there. They want to be known.
Right.
That is the main reason for the marriage, not, understanding the whole fundamental and the main reason of marriage. So I think if the young generation are being taught again what the real the purpose of marriage is, and not being pushed or being pressured about what comes around, with marriage. Because a lot of people also want to get married, but because of the expenses and all of these things that comes with it, they're still there. And that's why we have a lot of these situations going on. So once the real marriage understanding is there, the little things that comes around it shouldn't be a priority. It would be nice if it's there and you can afford it, but shouldn't be the main reason for marriage.
Right. Okay, I think we have just 2 minutes to go. So I'll take 1 minute from each of you.
Yeah.
In the end, which one is more important, the wedding day or the life after it? Let me go to him and then I close with you.
The life after.
Tell us about
because
in 1 minute.
The wedding day is just a day, but you have so many years ahead of you, so that should be your priority, and that should be your focus. Yes, that's what I would say. Yes.
Okay.
This
Let
one
me
is very
answer this.
simple.
Very simple.
No explanation there. Unless you don't see the money, you don't have a long term, plan with the man. The long term after is what is important.
That's what is
Because as
important.
he rightfully said, 10 years along the line, once you've settled yourself, you're stable financially, you can fly all of us to Bali or somewhere, and then we just do one crazy party.
Right.
That's all.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you. I would have loved to take you. I don't know whether you want to put your social media platforms out there so that people can reach out if you need some counsel or anything. So let me go to.
Absolutely. Not for counseling, because I'm not a counselor. But I am an event planner,
Right.
decor, and a rental company as well. So you can reach us on Kikel Events, at Kikel Events on Instagram. And you can reach us on phone number 0244-520386. 0244-520386. And we'll be more than happy to assist you.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm also on Facebook as Edward Kojo Usu,
Okay.
and then on Instagram as Edward Kojo Usu.
Okay. All right. Mr. Edward Owusu, thank you very much for coming.
Thank
And Bernice, Miss Bernice.
My
Dakwa,
pleasure.
Thank you very much. I'm glad that you came. All right, so that's how we wrap up today's show here on the Business Breakfast on Z with me, Nitrebi Hammond. We're speaking to Mr. Edward Kojo Owusu and Miss Bernice Dakwa, and they've spoken extensively about how to avoid debt when you're starting your marriage. And I think it's been a very great conversation. You can check our social media platforms and watch a replay on ZFMGH on Facebook and also Z Multimedia on YouTube. That's how we wrap up. My name is Nitrebi Hammond. It's been a great show. It's been a great 4-hour journey, and I'm glad that you joined me this morning. We meet same time tomorrow for another very interesting conversation. Stay tuned to Z101.9 FM. Up next is the Brother Side with NYA The Brand. Bye.